Good morning, friends. This is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami coming to you live from my page over here at Weightless. If you are new to my live streams, welcome and thank you for joining me. I will be talking today about how to make habits stick. Because if there's one thing I'm noticing in my clients, the coaching clients I serve, it's that losing weight is one thing, and trying to get a hold of your daily schedule is another thing. But when it comes to habits, most of our habits are unconscious. And as such, they're very difficult to make stick when we're trying to change them, replace them, or even create new ones. So I'd love to talk about the challenges we have with creating habits and give you a short formula that is a mishmash of different books and experts I've read from with my own special twist. So if you are watching this, please make sure to say hi in the comments. I'm excited to see who's joining me today. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for taking time to listen to me today. I'm a holistic health coach and a motivational speaker. I've been working in this business for quite a few years, and I am excited to share some of the things I've learned, both from my own personal experiences of losing 100 pounds and also from working with clients and the particular and specific challenges that are coming up in a COVID environment. So feel free to say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're watching me from. Occasionally I get international, which makes me feel really good because my husband's from India, and it's just nice to see where my audience is joining me from. So make sure to say hi. If you're new to StreamYard, I'm using StreamYard today. Just give StreamYard permission to share your information. It's a quick click-through process, and that way I can see your name when you comment and respond to you and acknowledge you for who you are today. Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear from you all. We are just 2 days before Thanksgiving here in the United States. Our friends up in Canada have already had their Thanksgiving celebration, but we are just a few days away from it. And I'd like to know from you, what is it you're going to be sharing or celebrating this Thanksgiving? I know COVID has made things very difficult. Here in Minnesota, we are being strongly cautioned to not gather together with our family and friends this holiday to prevent the spread of COVID. So typically my family does our own celebration anyway. So we're not doing a big family feast. Of course, we are going to be traveling as it is. And we will stay safe. We will stay within our own family group. We will be in our hotel. We'll be spending some time on the beach, God willing, and hopefully have a beautiful, relaxing time away before the reality of sheltering in settles in place. So Minnesota is on a pause right now for about a month, potentially into January. So that's why I wanted to talk about habits today, because I don't know about your personal experiences, but my personal experiences are it has been challenging from a habit perspective. So many of our habits are environmentally driven. And our new environment 24/7 tends to be our home today, whether we're working from home, helping our children school from home, doing our own work if we're a small business owner like myself from home, exercising from home as gyms offer more virtual options. Much of what we do is in our home environment. And that can be really challenging. So I want to tell you, there is hope. You can still create habits that stick. And if you stick with me until the end of this presentation, it'll be about 30 minutes, then I have a special offer for you to help make those habits sticky with my support. Things are easier when we have support for the goals we're working on, especially during times of stress. So stay tuned. At the end of this presentation, I'll share a little bit of how you can get my support during the holiday. Let's talk about habits. Up to 80% of our habits that we do every day are unconscious, and that's by design. The beauty of a habit is, because it is unconscious, we are not using any brain power to think about it and to make decisions around it. It is just something that happens. Now, the same is true for either good habits or bad habits. That doesn't change. So habits are unconscious whether they're good or bad. And only by creating awareness around our habits can we even decide to change or take action on changing. We need to create that awareness first. And some of you may be familiar with the techniques of I'm going to track what I eat. I'm going to track my exercise minutes. I'm going to track how much water I drink. Believe it or not, you can track things without creating awareness around them. So I just want to throw that out there. There are many downloadables you can get online on Google, on Pinterest. There are many resources and printouts and opportunities for trackers, and you could track everything these days. But those don't necessarily mean that you create awareness around your habits. So I just want to throw that caveat in there. If you're like, oh, I'm fine, I'll just print this thing and I'll track what I'm doing. That's a great first step. That may not create habits that stick for you. So let's talk about, now that we know that habits are unconscious and tracking them may not necessarily make them sticky for us, let's talk about a formula devised and created by James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits. Raise your hand in the comments if you've read Atomic Habits. I'm a big fan. Many people are. I think he's been translated into many different languages. It's a great read. If you want to put it on your Black Friday list, I suggest you do so. It's worth the read, worth the purchase. But here's what he said. He has a formula for habits. And from my personal experience, I understand that this formula is true. So the formula looks like B equals M plus A plus P. And when you spell that out beyond the acronym, B is behavior. So behavior, your habits, equals M for motivation, your motivation. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say motivation is? And 1 would be not so much. Share with me what your motivation scale looks like today. So motivation plus A, which stands for ability. Now, some of us have ability to choose our habits, and some of our habits kind of happen just around us by default. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And P is prompt. Now, if you've been following me, have heard me speak before, you sometimes hear me refer to prompt in a different word, and that word is trigger. So trigger can be used in a number of different contexts, but basically it means that something in your environment, in your processes, or in your consciousness is prompting you to behave a certain way. A prompt or a cue, if you like that word. It could be a trigger, a prompt, or a cue. Obviously, trigger indicates it's more negative. A trigger habit for food could be that when you're stressed, you reach for ice cream. A trigger habit for food could be when you're angry, you refuse to eat. There are a number of things there. A trigger for if you have mental illness could be that you break down or become non-responsive or disassociate. So trigger is more of a negative connotation. James Clear uses prompt. So behavior equals motivation plus ability plus prompt. And that is the trick. Once you can figure these pieces out for yourself when it comes to your habits, you can change them. You can create new ones that you love. You can replace bad ones that you don't love so much. So understanding how that formula works for you is more important than tracking your habits. Tracking your habits creates awareness. It doesn't necessarily give you guidelines or a plan for what to do once you've discovered what that habit looks like for you. So just want to throw that out there. Let's talk about behavior. Those are your habits. We know what that is. How about motivation? Oh my goodness, I hear about motivation all the time from friends, colleagues, followers, fans, clients. Motivation is a really tricky thing. However, something we've learned from Charles Duhigg, who, if you are familiar, wrote The Power of Habit, he says that motivation is something you can learn. It's something that should know. Motivation is something you can learn, is something you can develop, is something you can cultivate. And if you stick with me to the end of this presentation, I'll share with you how I can help you stay motivated through New Year's Eve. When you look at your own patterns and habits, what tends to motivate you? And this is the part that's important when it comes to coaching. So as a coach, my belief system is my client is the expert of themselves. So I know what motivates me. I know what worked for me. I know what continues to work for me. And I'm learning what my new motivation looks like, because it is shifting. Just as things around us are shifting internally, we will be shifting as well. But I know what works for me. Only after learning about my clients, after several coaching sessions, I usually ask clients to work with me for at least 6 sessions so we can get to know each other, establish that trust and that partnership, so I can guide them and learn more about what makes them tick. Because some people need some time to figure out what their motivation is driven by. Some people are driven by external factors, such as joining a group and getting that accountability, kind of getting caught up in the hype of what everyone does that. But sometimes that's what it is virtual. It can be really challenging for you to find a group setting that gives you that same sense of motivation that you may have experienced in a gym class, that you may have experienced working one-on-one with a trainer. It is a different sort of environment today. And personally, I can say I'm not as motivated virtually as I am with the energy in a room, with the feeling and the energy I get from other people. I don't consider myself an empath, but many people I work with are empaths. And empaths are very much affected by the energy around them. And I am also, as a speaker, motivated by the energy around me. Yes, I do presentations virtually, but I really excel and shine when I'm in a room of people and can get the feedback and the energy from the people in my audience. So understanding what motivates you, if it's external, that's fine. When you can harness that external factor and put it into an internal piece, that is what really drives your motivation. Because not only is it reflected from outside of yourself, but it is reflected from inside of yourself. So there's a push and a pull going on there for you. And it will make you stick to a habit where before maybe you're like, oh, this person didn't show up, I'm not going to show up for myself either. By the way, I have no judgment around how you are motivated. It's very unique to you. And I've worked with people from all types of life with different motivations. When I first started my weight loss journey, and I started it in October 20 years ago, so I started it during the holiday season, I was internally motivated. And my why at that time was I wanted to live a long and healthy life, a quality life, a life that did not require me to spend thousands of dollars on a product or a supplement. I wanted a life that I could sustain on my own without any special something to get me there. And because I'm internally motivated, it worked for me even when times were tough. It worked for me when I was going through a plateau. And I made different choices because of my why. So if you're stuck on what your why is in this season, maybe you just feel like you're overwhelmed, you're in chaos. Everything around you is shifting to the extent that you don't even care anymore. I can help you get to the bottom of your why. We all have it inside of ourselves, but it is difficult for us to find that without some guidance and support. If you'd like to help me to connect with me so we can discover what your why looks like, please comment below. I can private message you. We can contact each other. After the weekend, my family has some holiday plans and I will be unavailable. But after that time, I'm happy to connect with you and discover what your motivation looks like. Okay, so think about your motivation and what most motivates you. If you feel comfortable with sharing, I would love to hear from you. Pop in the comments what motivates you the most. I would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, let's move on to the ability piece of the formula from James Clear. Ability. So let's talk about ability. First of all, some people want to, use this as an opportunity to give excuses. I can't do this because of this. So for example, I can't exercise because my gym is closed. That is a legitimate concern, right? However, that does not remove your complete ability to exercise. You can walk outside. You can do exercises at home, even with as simple as a flight of stairs. It has not removed your ability to do that action. Maybe it removed your motivation, but it did not remove your ability. So when it comes to your ability, let's be really honest about what that looks like for you. I am no longer able to have the ability to do client calls during the hours between 9 and 2 continuously that I had prior to COVID because my children are distance learning and they need my support. My husband works full-time at home and I need to be that assistant teacher. I'm a horrible teacher, but I need to be that person to support my children. So I have reduced my coaching hours because I had to. I no longer have that ability because my priority is to make sure my children learn. I'm still doing coaching calls with clients, but I have more reduced schedule due to the situation around us. And I must admit, it was difficult at first. I might have been kicking and screaming a little bit, and I still do a little bit. My children were on a hybrid schedule for a while until most recently. So they were going to school 2 days a week. Now they're full-time distance learning. So there are challenges there for me as well. Like my ability to connect to the internet is reduced as well because I have 4 people in my household who are logging on and our internet connection is not the best and it shuts down and sometimes it doesn't work. So when you look at your ability to do the habits that really make difference for you, sometimes those habits are cooking at home. Yeah, I get it. We're frustrated by cooking at home. I cook at least a couple meals every day and have been since the beginning of COVID back in March. That was when our shelter in started here in Minnesota. I have been cooking like a fiend and I love to cook. That doesn't mean I love to do it every day. So look at your abilities. Are you able to cook at home? Well, some of us are forced to do it and that gives us a different motivation, doesn't it? But the ability is there. Even if you have just a skillet and a microwave, you have an ability to cook. If you have the ability to purchase certain groceries, you have a certain budget to work with, then you can choose organic over non-organic. You can choose fresh versus frozen. You have different ability level there. Some people tell me I'm physically incapable of certain things. And I personally have experienced this. So I have bad knees. I have a bad back. I can't do exercise. Well, again, it comes down to what is it you can do? When you think about your ability, I don't want you to focus on what you can't do. I want you to focus on what you can do. That is the only way you can really embrace change for yourself. Because if you sink into the despair of what you can't do, you're not going to do anything. And you're going to feel bad about yourself. And I don't want you to feel bad. That is not the purpose of creating habits that stick. The habits that stick are the ones that make you feel good. And the ones that make you feel it's possible and probable and potential for you. And if you sink in the feeling of I can't, you will be 100% correct about that. You won't be able to. So look at your ability in this time and stage of your life. What are you able to do? And you can start with what you're not able to do. For example, I'm not able to go to the gym. Yeah, many of us are not able to go to the gym or don't feel comfortable going to the gym. That's 100% accurate. What are you able to do? Are you able to bundle up and go walking? So I want you, if you want to start with what you can't do, you can certainly start there. But that's when you shift it to what you can do, what you are able to do. Some people say, well, enjoy group fitness, but I can't afford a $2,000 Peloton bike. I don't even know what their prices are because I've never looked into it. But that's accurate. You may not have the budget for that. And that's okay. But is there something else you can do? Can you purchase a $20 pair of dumbbells and start lifting at home? Maybe. Can you find a free YouTube video and start moving with someone on YouTube? Probably. You know, so look at it at what you can do, what you are able to do. Even if you don't like it as much as you liked pre-pandemic, I get it. There are things that are shifting for all of us. Now, the last one is the prompt. Now, this is my favorite one because the prompt shows up everywhere in life, right? Once you create, so one of the benefits of tracking your habits is you can understand where your prompts come from. Now, this is something you will pay attention to if you are tracking your habits, not just the X, Y, and Z of the habits, like the what and the how much, but the mood that you're experiencing at the time these habits are happening. Pro tip, if you are tracking what you're doing, track it as soon as you're finished doing it, so you don't forget about it conveniently later on. Don't wait till the end of the day to track what you're doing. Track it as soon as you've done it. Okay, that's a pro tip. Anyway, when you track your state of mind, as well as the thing you're doing or not doing, then you have the ability to understand your prompts or your cues or your triggers. Prompts, cues, and triggers are individual. Again, very personal. Some things that trigger me may not trigger you. Some things that trigger you may not trigger me. And that's just how it is. Our habits are designed and developed to meet our particular needs. And my needs are different than yours. However, there are some things that I find common in a lot of the clients I work with. A lot of the thing that comes up the most for my clients is stress. I am stressed. That's my prompt to do or not do something. Typically, that looks like if I'm stressed, I'm going to start eating something that is full of sugar, fat, crunchy, salt, something that satisfies some biological needs to deal with stress. And yes, there is a biological response to that. It's not that you lack willpower or that you're weak. There's a biological reason that you're craving those types of foods when you're stressed. Some people's triggers may be, I've been on the phone all day, I'm Zoom fatigued out, and I'm so mentally tired. I hear this a lot. I get it. I'm in the same place as all of you. So their trigger is, I'm so tired, I can't exercise. Okay, so that's their prompt. I'm too tired to exercise. Other prompts could be beneficial, or cues could be beneficial. For example, if you keep a glass of water next to your bed before you go to bed, and you wake up and that water is the first thing you see, and you drink that full glass of water, that's your cue. The water is right there. That's your trigger. Other examples would be if you have equipment in your home gym. If you keep that equipment in a closet, or if you have a treadmill at home and you pile your laundry on top of it, you are effectively removing that cue for yourself, that prompt. So make it visible. Make it in front of you, just like that glass of water by your bedside. Make it something that is such an integral part of your environment that you cannot ignore it. Now, prompts are not just physical and environmental. They can be, but they could also be tied to part of your rituals. I love rituals. I have a morning ritual I do all the time. I used to have some evening rituals. I've shifted what that looks like. We all live by ritual. Now, rituals are way more powerful than habits because rituals follow a certain process and there's a different meaning to them. Many of our habits just kind of happen by circumstance or over time or whatever. But rituals have a certain meaning to us. And when I say ritual, I'm not getting spiritual. It has nothing to do with religion or anything like that. A ritual is a set of behaviors that you do that have meaning to you. So the ritual could be your prompt. So for example, if, and we do rituals that don't even have that much meaning. So for example, when you wake up in the morning, what are the first 5 habits you do? That could be your morning ritual, especially if you always do them in the same order. or they tend to follow a certain time period in which you do them. Some people, part of their ritual is they wake up in the morning and they check their phone right away, and they look at their news stories, they look at their email. That's part of their ritual because it's something they do every morning, and they have perhaps the fear of missing out, the FOMO, and that's part of their ritual. So, the prompt could be anything in your environment. It could be anything in your pattern of behaviors or rituals. It could also be the power of suggestion. We've heard the stories, right? On the TV, there's a million food ads. If you're spending more time on your TV or your screen, you are being bombarded by ads. Some of those ads have to do with food. Many of them do. Some of those ads have to do with buying something. Oh, Black Friday is coming up. You need to buy this. You need to buy that. And when we're prompted in that way, it doesn't mean you're going to buy right away. We're not monkeys. But when you get prompted enough through these ads that you see day in and day out, it's planting some ideas in your head. That's a prompt. And if you're susceptible to that prompt because you're tired, you're stressed, you're hungry, you may give in to the power of suggestion of that ad. So that could be a prompt for you. If every time you log onto your computer, you receive a notification about something, that's a prompt. And that would cause you to behave a certain way. Now, I can share with you how to focus on creating these habits in a way that makes them sticky. This is what makes habits sticky to begin with. What I would like to invite you to do is think of a different way for yourself this holiday season. Now, I do have a Black Friday special and a special invitation. Here's why it's different. I'm running a 0 pound accountability group starting November 29th. We start on Sunday, and it runs through January 3rd. Now, as you would guess from the title, it's 0 pounds. Our focus is not on losing weight. We've got enough to worry about right now. I don't want to stress you out and overwhelm you. What I want to do is help you master 4 key habits that are responsible, not just for weight loss in many cases, but also for weight maintenance. I feel that during this time of year, you'll get a lot of ads, a lot of prompts to focus on losing weight. But I don't think that that's the right skill set for most people, especially in a pandemic world. Instead, what I would encourage you to do is look at mastering something that you maybe haven't been able to master this far in your life. A lot of people are successful at losing weight. How many people can raise their hand and say they're successful at maintaining that weight loss? This 0 pound accountability group is going to focus on the 4 key habits that help us maintain weight, so that when you start New Year, you don't have to worry about the COVID 15 pounds that you added to your waistline and the 5 pounds of holiday weight gain that could happen for you if you don't master your habits today. Instead of worrying about all that weight gain and then trying to lose it in January, which we don't even know if our gyms will be going open again. We don't know if those specials will be available to us. We cannot control what happens with COVID. We can control what we do today. We can control how to master our habits. We can control our motivation, our ability, and our prompt. And we can do that today. So if this is intriguing to you, I will pop the link below this video. Please connect with me. There's only a few days left for you to decide. I do want to share that I am sensitive to people's ability to pay. I have reached out to a couple of clients already who worked with me in the past, and they have shared that they are not in a financial situation to invest in themselves, and I understand. I don't want this to be a hard decision for you. I don't want your ability to be so low that you're like, I just can't do it. I want you to choose to invest in you. So I have 3 different levels of participation in 0 pound accountability group. Those 3 levels are elf, reindeer, and Santa Claus. Yes, we're going to be in the holiday spirit. Let's make merry together. The elf level is just the program, the basic program. You have daily accountability with me, daily check-ins with me as your coach. Weekly themes that we focus on the 4 main key habits that I have found to be successful for weight maintenance over time. 20 years for me, multiple years for some of my clients. We'll also have a midpoint check-in sometime in December. It'll be a conference call with everyone who's in the group so we can address the things that are showing up for us. I understand sometimes we get stuck. I don't want you to be stuck. You also get a bonus of a couple trainings I have done about gaining weight during COVID. Now, what do we do? I have some bonus recipes and ideas for breakfast, for lunch, for snacks. It's the holiday season. Indulge mindfully. That's what you get with the basic ELF level for $97. You can upgrade that. If you're like, I need dedicated support, I want to connect with Jen, I want to figure out my motivation personally for me, then upgrade to a strategy consult with me. 30 minutes with me on the phone where we figure out what works for you. I can walk you through that process. I've done it for many, many of my clients. They have always told me I can help them focus. I want to help you focus on getting your best results. The final level, the Santa Claus level, the big guy himself, is to get my full support with weekly coaching sessions with me. I love my clients. I love coaching. And I love supporting people where they are today. And sometimes that includes you need a little extra boost and oomph to get there. And that's what coaching can do for you. So I encourage you to check out the link. I encourage you to consider what is best for you this holiday season. I know some of the things we can't control are happening around us, and there may be frustration, fear, and overwhelm. I want you to start the new year, 2021, with a big win behind you. And would it feel like a win if you don't gain a single pound? You still enjoy your holiday season. You still make the pies and the cookies and the turkey and the ham, whatever it looks like for you this holiday. You still make those things. You still have time with your family, not too much time. And you still are able to consistently exercise. I want that for you. You are still able to focus on your food, but not every single bite you eat, just one meal a day. You're still able to handle stress. I will particularly support you around stress during this challenge because I myself am experiencing high levels of stress. I'm working with a burnout coach right now because I recognize that that's a need for me. Do you recognize what you need in this season of your life? I encourage you to consider a 0 pound holiday group. Connect with me if you have any questions. In the meanwhile, share with me, what is the best gift you can give to yourself this holiday season? Regardless of whether you celebrate Christmas, you can still gift to yourself whatever you wish. Comment below if 0 pound holiday is the gift you want to give to yourself or to someone in your life that you love. I'm happy to connect with you. Let me know your questions in the comments, and thank you for joining me this morning. I know there's a lot going on. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time you took to listen to this, and share this video if you found value in it, because I want it to help as many people as possible. My name is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami. I am a holistic health coach. I'd be happy to support you through 0 pound holiday group. Connect with me and let me know what your questions are. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everyone. Thank you.